There are at least 4 distinct types of sniper rifles, and most people never stop to understand the differences between them. That distinction completely changes the way these weapons are perceived, whether in a movie, a video game, or a news report. The term sniper rifle usually brings to mind the same image: a long firearm equipped with a scope, used by a lone marksman positioned on high ground. But that image represents only a fraction of what actually exists in practice. In reality, precision rifles range from compact models used by police tactical teams to massive systems capable of engaging targets at distances exceeding 1.5 kilometers. The difference between them is not just a matter of size. It is a matter of philosophy of use, and that philosophy is deeply rooted in decades of doctrinal development, battlefield experience, and operational requirements that have shaped each of these systems in very specific ways. The most classic and recognizable type is the bolt-action rifle. In this system, the shooter must manually operate a bolt handle after each shot to eject the spent cartridge and chamber a new round. At first glance, this seems like a clear disadvantage. In terms of rate of fire, it certainly is. However, what the bolt-action system offers in return is mechanical consistency. Every firing cycle is identical to the previous one. There are no moving parts during the actual moment of firing, which reduces the variables that can affect the projectile's trajectory. For those who prioritize accuracy above all else, this trade-off makes perfect sense. That is why bolt-action rifles remain the preferred choice in long-range shooting competitions, and in situations where a single, well-placed shot is worth more than several average ones. In popular culture, this is the type of rifle that appears in the most suspenseful scenes, precisely because the slower firing process creates tension. Every shot becomes an event in itself. An entire cinematic language has been built around this moment. The shooter controls their breathing, waits for the natural pause between an exhalation and the next inhalation, and only then squeezes the trigger. This sequence is not an invention of screenwriters. It is a real technique taught in precision shooting courses around the world. What makes this technique so fascinating is that it transforms something mechanical into something almost philosophical. The shooter does not fight against the environment. Instead, they learn to become part of it, synchronizing their entire body with the exact moment when the shot should be taken. The second type is the semi-automatic precision rifle. Here, the mechanics change completely. After each shot, the system uses part of the energy generated by the cartridge ignition to eject the spent casing and automatically chamber the next round. The shooter does not need to do anything except pull the trigger again. This greatly increases follow-up shot speed, which is especially useful when the target is moving or when the situation requires rapid re-engagement. The trade-off is that a semi-automatic system has more moving parts, which can introduce small variations from one shot to the next. At very long distances, those variations matter. At medium ranges, the increase in speed often outweighs the loss in precision. In modern tactical games, semi-automatic precision rifles are usually portrayed exactly this way. More versatile, faster, but slightly less accurate at extreme distances. Interestingly, this is one of the most faithful representations that entertainment media offers when it comes to precision weaponry. Game developers who thoroughly research the subject are often able to capture this nuance with surprising accuracy, creating mechanics that reflect the real-world trade-offs between different systems. It is also worth noting that semi-automatic precision rifles played an important role in the doctrinal evolution of several armies throughout the 20th century. During prolonged conflicts in urban environments, the need to rapidly re-engage targets in areas with extensive cover made bolt-action rifles insufficient for certain roles. Semi-automatic systems filled that gap efficiently and continue to be widely used by special operations forces around the world because of their combination of range and rapid response capability. In modern conflicts, where engagement distances can vary dramatically from one situation to another, this flexibility has a value that goes beyond what any technical specification can fully capture. The third type is perhaps the most visually dramatic, the anti-materiel rifle. These weapons were developed for a very specific purpose, which is reflected in their name. They are not primarily designed to engage personnel, but rather to destroy equipment, light vehicles, communication systems, radar installations, and structures. To achieve this, they use much larger calibers than conventional rifles, resulting in weapons that are significantly heavier and produce substantially greater recoil. In popular culture, anti-materiel rifles are often portrayed in an exaggerated manner, as if they were capable of bringing down helicopters with a single shot or effortlessly penetrating entire walls. Reality is more technical and less spectacular, but no less fascinating. These systems require careful setup, a stable firing position, and in most cases, are operated by two-person teams. One shooter takes the shot while the other observes and provides corrections. The idea that a single operator carries and uses an anti-materiel rifle alone is, in most cases, a cinematic simplification. In practice, the weight of these weapons alone makes transportation a logistical challenge, not to mention the need for proper stabilization if the shot is to have any real usefulness at long distances. Video games often represent this concept in an interesting way. In Helldivers 2, the recoilless rifle operates exactly within this philosophy. It is a heavy, high-impact weapon designed to destroy armored targets and works best when there is coordination between players. One reloads while the other keeps watch. This cooperative mechanic is not just a design detail. It reflects a genuine understanding of how high-impact weapons function in tactical environments. And when a game gets this kind of detail right, it creates an experience that goes beyond entertainment. It teaches, even if indirectly, something true about how these systems operate. The fourth type is the least known among the general public, but perhaps the most interesting from a technical perspective: the designated marksman rifle, or DMR. This category occupies a middle ground that for a long time did not even have its own name. It is more accurate and offers greater range than a standard assault rifle, but it does not reach the level of specialization of a pure bolt-action rifle. The idea is to provide conventional infantry with the ability to engage targets at medium distances without requiring a dedicated specialist. In practice, this means a weapon that can be used more dynamically and while on the move, without the rigid positioning that a bolt-action rifle demands. A designated marksman is not necessarily an elite specialist. Rather, he is an infantry soldier with additional training and a weapon that extends the effective range of his squad. This distinction matters because it demonstrates that accuracy is not an absolute quality. It is always relative to the context. Understanding that relativity is what separates a superficial view of the subject from a genuine understanding of how these systems fit into the real-world needs of those who use them. Another aspect that rarely appears in popular representations is the role of caliber in defining the type of rifle. Caliber is not just a number. It determines the weapon's effective range, impact energy, the recoil the shooter must absorb, and the weight of the ammunition that must be carried. A precision rifle chambered in .223 caliber has completely different characteristics from one chambered in .338 Lapua Magnum, which in turn differs significantly from a .50 BMG rifle, commonly used in the most well-known anti-materiel rifles. Each of these calibers represents a solution to a different set of problems, and the choice between them is never arbitrary. The development of the .338 Lapua Magnum cartridge is a clear example of this coevolution between firearm and ammunition. It emerged as a response to the need to engage targets beyond the practical limits of the .308 Winchester, but without the extreme weight and recoil of the .50 BMG. This intermediate caliber eventually became one of the most respected in the field of long-range precision shooting, adopted by special forces in dozens of countries and by competitive shooters around the world. It represents exactly the kind of intelligent compromise that defines the evolution of weapon systems. When studying the history of a specific caliber, one invariably finds an operational context that gave rise to it. A war, a particular terrain, a logistical limitation, or a tactical requirement that previous calibers simply could not satisfy effectively. In the field of sport shooting, this variety translates into completely different disciplines. There are competitions dedicated to long-range shooting with bolt-action rifles, where precision at extreme distances is the only criterion that matters. There are dynamic shooting competitions, where speed and accuracy must coexist in balance. And there are disciplines that simulate tactical scenarios, where equipment selection is as much a part of the strategy as the shooter's skill. Each of these disciplines favors a different type of rifle and a different set of skills. And shooters who move between them must adapt not only their equipment, but also their entire mindset when approaching a shot. There is also a psychological aspect that deserves attention and is rarely explored in depth. The training of a precision shooter is not merely technical, it is mental. The ability to remain calm under pressure, ignore distractions, and calculate variables such as wind, altitude, and temperature while maintaining focus on the target requires a level of cognitive discipline that goes far beyond physical skill. Experienced shooters often describe the process as a form of active meditation, where the goal is to minimize any interference between intention and action. This human dimension is what transforms a technical piece of equipment into something that captures the imagination so powerfully. It is also what makes the subject so timeless. No matter how much technology evolves, the human element remains at the center of everything. The tension between specialization and versatility is one of the central themes in any serious discussion about precision rifles. A .308 caliber bolt-action rifle may be perfect for a precision shooting competition at 500 meters and completely unsuitable for a situation that demands rapid mobility. A designated marksman rifle may be versatile enough to handle most situations without being the best at any one of them in particular. This logic appears constantly in discussions within gaming and sport shooting communities, where the conversation is rarely about which weapon is the absolute best. Instead, it is about which weapon is best for a specific situation. And that seemingly simple question opens up an entire universe of variables that can fuel hours of debate among experts without ever leading to a definitive answer. What connects all of these contexts, from movies to video games, from competitive shooting to operational use, is the same fundamental fascination. Precision rifles represent a very specific and highly appealing idea: the ability to exert control over a situation from a safe distance. It is a combination of skill, patience, and knowledge that captures the imagination in ways that few other tools can. This is why these systems remain so prominent in popular culture decades after their first cinematic portrayals. It is not only because of their visual appeal, although that appeal certainly exists and is undeniable. It is because of the implicit narrative they carry. The idea that there is a way to accomplish more with less, to solve complex problems through precision rather than brute force. And this narrative resonates because it is not exclusive to the world of firearms. It appears in any field where deep technical mastery enables results that seem impossible to outsiders. The four categories, the bolt-action rifle, the semi-automatic rifle, the anti-materiel rifle, and the designated marksman rifle, represent four different answers to the same fundamental question. How do you hit the right target, at the right distance, with the smallest possible margin of error? Each answer comes with its own advantages, limitations, and ideal context of use. Understanding these differences not only enriches the experience of watching a movie or playing a game, it also opens a window into a fascinating technical field that rarely receives the depth of attention it deserves. And once that window is opened, it becomes difficult to look at these rifles the same way again.